tell thee a tale, now list to me. With the hey-ho, the wind and the rain. But merry or sad, oh, which shall it be? For the rain it raineth every day.
An important thing that Rafe does is the material he presents us with is something that, of course, we want to learn, but he does it in such an interesting way, and he's so informed about it beforehand that it captures all of our attention so well. And I feel like that's what teachers lack. They lack just interesting stuff. Most of the time it's just worksheets that they give out just because, they're on the computer in the end of the room, and it's frustrating because you want to learn something. You're there for a reason, and everything that Rafe presents us has a purpose, whether it be orientations for a trip, the books we read, it all leads back to who we are and what we want to do with that information and what we're going to take from it in the future in our careers, in our families and everything. And I feel like that's what most teachers don't understand, that the lesson doesn't end in the classroom, that what we should be learning, we should be taking for the rest of our lives. And just the environment itself here, just learning with your friends, it's always really fun. And yeah.
In many of my classes, the teacher makes a conscious decision whether to help the student or to explode at the student for their mistakes. And it's usually the latter, but here that's not what happens. Here, if we struggle or we need assistance with anything, Rafe is always there to help us and give us insight on what to do. Rafe's wife, Barbara, she's an amazing person. Her iconic question is, what do you do when things go wrong? And this classroom has taught us that when things go wrong, you look for help. And when things go wrong for other people, you learn to give help. That's something that I feel is the backbone of this class, and that's what makes it special for me.
Rafe knows what he's doing. He always has things prepared a week before or a month before, wherein teachers at school don't know what they're doing. They come to class unprepared, and it really hurts us.
When we take the SAT practice exams, he always solves all the questions beforehand, so he knows what math problems we're going to face, and he always helps us get prepared for that math question. And it's very helpful because he knows what we're going to face, so he is always ready to answer our questions. And if he doesn't have the answer to the question at that moment, he always comes back to us and tells us the answers later on, so that's really helpful.
Rafe always presents the class's material in a manner that makes us all want to focus and listen to him and respect him, and it changes the way we function in the class.
The preparation that Rafe does for the trips and for everything else that he does for us is really important, because I think I do know some kids at school who do have that potential, but because they don't have the opportunities that Rafe provides for us, the preparation, they don't reach that level. If teachers just worked a little bit harder to get those kids there, then we'd have a much better world to live in. So I guess the advice I'd want to give is prepare your students, care for them. The readiness is on.
Everybody's watching you.
The last book we read with Rafe was For Whom the Bell Tolls, and it has to be one of the best books I have read out of all the ones we've read. It has left such an important mark in my life, just thinking about Robert Jordan and seeing the bigger picture. And it can show teachers how just a small book can have an effect to the students in their class.
Rafe does teach us how to read. At school, we don't even read anymore. They just give us books and they don't explain anything. And here we actually read and he explains everything very thoroughly, and that really helps us.
As you guys know, I'm attending Columbia this fall. I have a point. Okay, and like you guys guys said, Rafe, we do a lot of reading in this class, and it's actual reading. This year, we read Othello in class, and the teacher just handed out copies, and we read them in acts. We didn't even read the full play because she split it into 5 groups. One group read Act 1, and the other group read Act 2, and then the other group read Act 3, and then we just paraphrased our acts to each other, which was like pointless. But in this class we read, and I think my writing greatly improved because of this class and my speaking, and I think that's what has helped me set apart from other students. So if I had advice for teacher, it would be read with your students, go take the time. It's not like we're doing anything else in class anyways. So it doesn't hurt to read a complete book in class.
My teacher, she usually just gives us like a handout at the beginning of class, and then she'll go straight to the phone and just gossip about us like if we're not even there. Just talking about us the whole time, and then she'll give us homework at the end based on something that we didn't even learn because she was busy talking on the phone. So my advice to teachers would be to actually teach us and do their job and not just go do something else while we're there.
In my math class, there are certain students that act up, and because of that, my teacher only focuses on them and spends their energy going like, hey, stop it. And then like, I'm just there like, I want to learn, man. Because of that, she spends the whole period lecturing us, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's not fair for the students who want to learn. I want to say, focus on the students who are willing to learn and are trying their best to grasp any little information that you're trying to give, whether it be science, math, or any life lessons. In this class, there are no students that act up. They're really supportive, and because of that, we have a safe environment, and it's like really nice to
It's just nice. I was in my Algebra 2 class, and my teacher, it was the first day of school, and my teacher gave us a textbook, and this is what he said. He said, oh, just do it on your own. And we had to do everything on our own till the last day of school. So I had to teach myself Algebra 2, and it wasn't that easy because he wasn't there to help, and he's a teacher and he was supposed to help me, but he was never prepared to answer any questions. Just be prepared. We're students and we're there to learn something. We're just not, you guys aren't babysitting us. You are there to help us learn and gain knowledge. But when you just tell us to do things on our own, it just doesn't help us with our education.
One time, my science teacher gave us a worksheet, and at the end of class it was due, and I turned it in and I gave it to him right in his hands, and the next day he said I didn't turn it in, so I didn't get the grade I deserved because he lost my paper. So one advice I would give to teachers is to be organized and to not lose their students' work.
I went to Baltimore for an international bridge contest in the United States, and I won the regional contest, so I had the ticket to go to Baltimore to compete in the international contest. And the planning was really bad. Like, our school system didn't have any money, so we had to pay for very low price plane tickets and very low budget hotels. Our hotel was called America's Best Value Inn, and when our driver took us there, he was like, "Oh, your school took you guys here? This is the place where prostitutes stay." and then I was really shocked when he said that. And when I went in, I smelled marijuana all over the hallways, and even the rooms itself smelled like marijuana, and there were just stains all over the place. School should take care of us. If we did something great, then I think they should provide us with also great things.
In one of my classes this year, my teacher, the first day she told us, when you're in my class, you're not allowed to talk to each other. And that was strange because in a classroom, if I have a question and it's not something that needs to be asked by the teacher, I'm not allowed to ask the person sitting next to me. Teachers need to understand that communication is something that everyone needs to do. whether it's in the classroom or at a job or for the rest of our life, we need to talk to each other. So if I can't ask my peer a question, how am I supposed to go into the real world and ask a stranger a question or someone that is above me a question that I need help with? I think that teachers need to understand that in the classroom, yes, we need help from the teacher, but we also need to learn from each other, because that's how we're all gonna evolve in a better classroom and society where we need to talk to each other.
The way that teachers present their class to students affects how they learn. I remember my first day of school, I was entering my AP Computer Science class, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was, so I'm not an AP Computer Science teacher, but I teach chemistry and environmental science, and that's a science, and science is a computer science. So everybody was looking at each other in the class like, then what are we doing here? What are we supposed to learn from you? If you yourself say you're not ready to teach this class. And the way she said it brought us down our excitement to learn about computers. Be cautious of the way you present the class, because in the future it could affect how the students listen to you, respect you, or question whether you are knowledgeable on the subject.
Here we're able to freely express our opinions, whereas opposed to in other classrooms, kids are restricted to the teacher. And here every day after class or rehearsal, Rafe asked us, how was the day? What can I do to make next time better? And I think it really helps to get students' opinions, because the teacher's way of doing things isn't always the right way. And for a lot of kids, they learn differently. It's really important to get responses and feedback from students who are actually in the class.
In this class, I've been on many trips with Rafe, and I just had an orientation with Rafe for Europe. Rafe always had the materials ready. If we have a question about the trip, he always prepares us. I don't come from a rich family, so I lack a lot of materials. I asked Rafe if he can help me with my suitcase, and he willingly and without anything behind it, he just helped me out. He says, "Oh, Johnny, just give me your favorite color, and I'll buy you a suitcase."
It's an environment where we get to trust and make bonds together without any boundaries, and we're able to laugh without having any consequences. And Rafe also asked how we were. That also makes our day, because after all the negativity we've been through outside of this class, we can come here and be safe and be happy, and this acts as our safe haven for us. I think this is a place where we can all find reassurance and happiness.
If you're a teacher, hopefully it's because you like to teach and that you like to show students new things, and that it's satisfying to you to watch them as they understand new things about the world and how the world acts around them. So revel in that and enjoy each day you get to teach, because no matter what goes wrong, whether it's your fault or not your fault, remember that your classroom should be your happy place. When Rafe always comes in to work with us, he's always happy to be there. Room 56 in that way is very encouraging and inspiring, so remember to enjoy your classroom.